welcome in. This is our first ever episode of Chapters. It's a great show where we've got experienced comedians on talking about their early years in stand-up. I'm one of your hosts, Vaughn Robinson.
And I'm Isaiah Steele.
All right, and our lovely guests today are...
Ronnie Macaroni.
I'm James Hartenfeld.
Right on. Sweet deal.
On. That's sick.
All right. Well, we've got a list of questions for you guys. We're excited to hear your beginnings in stand-up. Should we just start with a question, or what do you want?
Let's start. Honestly, well, we could start it like formally. Like, how was your day, Ronnie?
It's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, James, how was?
You guys liking that protest going on outside?
Oh, I think it's great. I honked for him.
Nice.
Bring back Randy.
Yeah, Randy.
Use the platform to support Randy. That's what I think.
Yeah, Randy.
Yeah.
It's actually the same guy. It's Randy Newman, the guy who sings "You Got a Friend in Me."
Man, who knew he worked at New Seasons? That's crazy.
Yeah, he works at New Seasons.
Yeah, you need a
That's
side
insane.
hustle.
Well, they only make a Toy Story movie every 10 years. Like, he needs a side hustle.
He needs a job. He needs a job.
Totally.
Sure.
Be surprised how poorly that pays.
Yeah. What'd you do today, Isaiah?
I frantically wrote down questions.
Oh, I frantically printed them.
Yeah.
God, we're good at this, huh?
Oh, we're professionals.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, we are. All right, let's bust into the questions. Ronnie, what was your first experience performing?
My first experience performing was in a pool hall, and there was a curtain like in front of the pool tables. So there was like a little corner part. Nobody wanted to see comedy. But I didn't do as poorly as I had prepared to do. And so I kept doing it. Now looking back, I wasn't shit. But yeah, that was my first experience.
What was your prep work for your first mic? Because like I know some people rehearse in the room with a microphone. Yeah. How much prep work did you do?
I prepared for like 3 weeks before I got on stage, and I wrote a 3-minute bit. And yeah,
how did it go?
It not as poorly as I had planned. That I thought that it went well. Now, when looking back, I think I have video of it, or I've had video of some of my older sets, and I don't know why I kept going when I look at those videos.
Did you get the wink from the bartender, like, the kid has something? Did you get one of those?
No, nobody wanted us there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over there in the corner.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's so
Do it
hard.
and get out,
Very,
please.
you can hear like the pool balls in the back going,
Nice. James, how about you? What was your first... did you start with stand-up? What did you start with?
Yeah, I started with stand-up. I mean, I was doing I started with stand-up, but there was like, in college, I was like doing like acting stuff in college. But I was like winning monologue contests in like high school, stuff like that. And that felt like,
raised a good boy.
because I wanted to eventually like do stand-up, and I lied about it in my hometown. They started like an open mic, and I lied to my friends, and I was like, I did that. I fucking ripped that up, dude. And it would be like 3 years until I would actually do it. And it was at Bar of the Gods on Hawthorne, and Rico was hosting, and he was like, he had the longest, he looked like straight out of a Hot Topic, and he was in the summer on a patio, and my mom dropped me off, because when I moved here, like, we didn't have a car, like, wasn't driving, and I just bombed so horribly. I think I had typed jokes on a clipboard, and there's one couple, an older couple that was like clearly on a date that was very supportive the whole time. And then I just remember like I was so scared to talk to anyone. Like the social part I think was always so hard. And then the joke part was also very hard too. So I just could not wait to leave, but I still felt like I was so excited to tell my mom like a joke worked or something.
Hell
like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So you started with an acting education.
Yeah, in high school and college I was like I would like to figure out that. But I also loved comedy, so I was like, I'd like to figure out that too. I don't know what any of that like meant at the time.
I think that's kind of a hard thing to figure out. When you're a kid and you see something, you're like, I just want to perform in some form of fashion. Like, did you always want to do stand-up, or you're like, I just want to be in front of people doing stuff?
I'm a performer at heart, and I come from a family of performers. My grandparents met doing like musical theater in the tenement housing, like so like doing Hello Dolly and stuff. Yeah,
For your family.
So it runs in the family. My older sister is a singer-songwriter, and she's amazing, and my kid sister is an artist. I'm a middle child also, so I need attention. So I did slam poetry. I was So
I want to ask you to do it for us later, but
Yeah,
keep going.
honestly,
I want to hear.
yeah, I want to hear that.
So I was heavily involved in the slam poetry. My sister's gone to like Women of the World slam poetry, and we got in a fight one time, and she was like, "You're never gonna perform slam poetry in this town again."
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a heavy threat. That's a heavy threat.
when she said it, she was like, "You will." No more, I said. Sister hate, sister bait. All right, well, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I was like, shoot, I better pick another avenue. And I did a lot of like community theater in junior college and stuff like that. And then finally found comedy in my late 20s.
Nice. Well, with this, we're deviating from questions already because
Yeah.
you guys are interesting me. With stand-up, I feel like it's such a solo activity. And you guys both came from backgrounds where it's like more team-oriented. Do you feel like, do you enjoy working with others more comedically? Because you are doing shows with a bunch of people currently.
Sure.
And it's structured and stuff. Do you think that's more fun to do once it all comes together and it hits well? Or do you prefer doing your own thing and enjoying your own success? That was sorry, I worded that kind of weird, but what do you like more, the team success or solo success as far as performing?
That is a good question, though.
I think producing a group thing, it feels like you're able to pull off something bigger.
Yeah,
That's
it's
for
bigger than
sure.
yourself.
And joy shared, like success shared as a group. Like I feel like it magnifies that success, and it feels really good to be able to share that. Like I feel like in comedy, sometimes even when you have a good set, you don't appreciate,
You need friends to be like, yo,
Totally.
That was good.
or if you
yeah,
bombed, like,
this
here's a
is back.
shot, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's it. Yeah.
Or you do a set and you like miss your friend's laugh. I have that happen to me
Oh,
sometimes. So I'm
yeah.
like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Boy.
when you know
Like-
that the crowd's gonna be silent, but you get that one friend laughing, it's like, oh, I still got it.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Keeps you going.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
I'm
I'm
still
bombing,
here.
if I look at his face, I'll be like, oh, he will get me to laugh enough that I will enjoy myself on stage, and then he can turn the set around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically,
I
stand-up
agree.
comedy is also a group thing but it's just a different type of group thing.
Totally.
Kinda like wrestling.
Because the audience is a part of that group. It's like conducting, but it's like where you're preparing something and you've got to engage these people who that don't,
Definitely.
they don't know the
Alright.
punchline.
Let's bring it. I'm sorry. to
No, you're
interrupt, but
good.
Let's bring it back to the
Yeah.
to the Travis questions. But honestly, these answers are amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
What comedian like local comedian first inspired you in Portland?
Well, I was already doing comedy when I moved to Portland.
You were from LA, right? Like,
I moved here from San Francisco, but I
my
started
bad.
doing comedy in Northern California.
Mhm.
Before that, I was in New York.
Anyone there of note?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Germ Leather is a comedian from Chico, California, and he's hilarious. And he's been doing it far longer than I've been doing it. I believe he ran the mic. He ran the mic on my first mic. So shout out Germ Leather. Don Ashby, also another local Chico comedian who's a physicist and just like brilliant and hilarious and should be way bigger than
All
he
these
is.
names sound so made up, Ronnie.
I know.
you got taught by the WWE.
Germ Leather.
Just do some like road wrestlers that you
Yeah.
encounter. Yeah.
Clancy was there somehow.
Don Ashby sounds really familiar, like because I'm from Humboldt, and that was like a sister city, like Arcadia Eureka. That's like a sister town to Chico. But yeah, I can't put a face to any of those people.
Yeah, he
but
wears glasses, long-haired guy,
Sure,
handsome physicist.
I'm sure he came through Savage Henry.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
so and then
sure.
more like to be in depth. How do they like support you? Were they just like keep coming out? Were they encouraging?
Yeah, so Don and I, like, we would get together a lot over at Madison Bear Garden, shout out Chico, California. And we would just like get together and drink a pitcher and have these writing sessions. I have to shout out my mentor, RIP Kyle Adams, because he's really the one who pushed me to get on stage.
You know, there's a Kyle Adams here.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, is he
Oh.
dead?
Kyle, oh my bad. I mean Kyle
not
Bowen.
The Kyle Adams
Kyle,
you will see
Kyle,
on the show.
Kyle Bowen.
Yeah.
Kyle
16th.
Bowen.
Kyle
My bad.
Bowen.
Yeah, not Kyle Adams. Kyle Bowen.
Yeah, James, you didn't
Yeah.
start here. You didn't start here.
I did start here.
Oh, you did start here. How
Yeah.
about you? Because you're how many years in are you now?
Summer of 13 was my first open
Damn.
mic.
Damn.
But
We don't want to respond like that.
yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
mean, the people that really like, dude, Sean Jordan was like always very nice to me when I was in my early 20s, and that meant a lot. He'd like sit at my table at an open mic and like let me ask him questions. Like Curtis Cook was around. Like I watched guys just like beast like out of the scene. Like I watched Jake work so hard for so long until he got out. Like honestly, Alex Falcone was like super nice to me and like yeah, and like gave me a lot of great advice. That's for sure. I got to see like Shane Torres come and go, and I just ran into him when he was back into town. And he was always really nice. Zach Toscani was like very nice too. He would like do the first shows that I ever tried to produce that were horrible. Didn't know what I was doing. I'd like host him and do a minute.
Yeah.
And be like, here's Zach, everyone. And like
That's how it goes.
like all these guys that like, I mean, they're on Comedy Central now, like that I was like, I'm very grateful that they were around me in my formative years of stand-up. And then guys like, when I started to really get stuff, it was largely because of like guys like Hunter Donaldson and Simon Gibson. And
Should we promote Hunter's book?
it's crazy that Hunter's
Yeah, Hunter's book's here. He's
Yeah.
a novelist.
Yeah, good friend.
I'm over here feeling guilty like shit. I need to name more people.
I can't believe you wrote that.
Wait a minute.
It's a big beefy book. Yeah.
Well,
But-
you could also name more people with the next question.
Yeah.
What popular comedian inspired you?
big names.
Big
ups,
name, yeah.
Big names.
I would
Yeah.
say Bamford for sure.
Maria
I was
Bamford?
like into psych wards, and like when I got out of those in my when I was 23 was the last one, but like in those rounds of both of them, I was like Bamford's YouTube show that she made self-produced, like that hit home for me. And I got like way into Maria, but like Maria. And,
Forgive me. Remind me, Maria Bamford. Oh, is that the? Oh, my mother. The
I
lady?
mean, that's not too far
That's-
off.
Sweetie, why that's not her, but
It's
Because I do love Maria Bamford. So she was your
Yeah.
number one as a real youth.
I think
like
an
youngin'?
easy number one, but like I think Dimitri Martin and like Killing Them Softly,
Oh, yeah.
Dave were
Oh,
like,
gosh.
you know, like
Yeah.
I can't like say like Dave, but I'll say like Killing Them Softly, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like I
Killing Them
was.
Softly is definitely like
You
the
just-
first.
can't name a
incredible.
black
special that
comedian.
made
It's
me-
okay to name a black comedian.
Yeah,
so you know.
it's the race part.
Yeah, I was copying Chris Rock when I first started.
What about you, Ronnie?
Oh, I think George Carlin was probably was major for me. I remember seeing like my parents were huge comedian fans, and so seeing Carlin, and I remember this one specific special where he was talking about like waiting till the scabs on your head are ripe to pick them off. And I was like, this is so disgusting and so human also. And
It's raw.
just,
It's like a
yeah,
raw
just like
thing.
raw
Yeah.
human brilliance. And then Killing Them Softly also. That was like the first time that I think that I saw stand-up comedy and I thought to myself, I wish I could do that.
Totally.
And I was like 17 years
that
old.
feeling,
And that was like the first time it occurred, you know, and then I still didn't get on stage for another decade.
Oh, and then just to be
For
just
that.
so for people who are curious, because I always like this information.
Uh-huh.
How old were you when you actually did it? When you first started?
28 years old.
28 was when you started.
Uh-huh.
Holy shnikes! Well, you look
Yeah.
great, girl. God.
Thank you.
James, how about yourself? What was the age when you did it
I was
first?
23.
Holy
23?
shit, you look like
Son
trash.
of a bitch.
Jesus Christ.
What a loser!
And then I drank through like 4 levels of improv. So it was
do
like
it.
27 was when I felt comfortable being at like more than one open mic a week. Like one open mic would scare me, and then I'd be like, okay, I'll try it again somewhere else next week. That's it for me.
That's it. You only get one.
And then like 27, it was like, no, I can hit 4 a day.
Yeah, oh, 4 a day. That's baller.
Like, and stuff. So.
Yeah. This isn't on the questionnaire, but I'm always curious because, like, when my first year, the biggest hurdle was just the ability to repeat jokes
Hmm.
because I felt like, oh, the same bartenders here, they're gonna think I'm a hack. the same audience is here. It took me a long time to get over that. Was there any weird hurdles for you guys to get over when you first started? Maybe like writing or something.
I think something that was fun that happened was like, I can't wait to just try something because like I have friends here. Like I just have friends here and I want to like try something. And like that was a nice shift for me because all my jokes before that was like, I'm going to type it and I'm going to memorize it. And I'm like, this is sad and it's not fun. It doesn't feel natural.
You were straight up to the like, well, actually, according to...
My printer's out of ink, so I'm not doing a mic tonight. So
Excuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any hurdles, Ronnie, to get over?
Yeah, there's always hurdles, but I think one of my the first bit I wrote, I took 3 weeks to write it, and I was like very good with that. And I think and it's still one of my biggest hurdles is the desire to go off book and not doing and it's not necessarily a hurdle, but just feeling confident in doing that. Like they're writing something while I'm taking a shit right before a show or a mic and being like, I gotta go take this to the stage. Yeah.
It sucks when you don't record.
Yeah, you get tired of your own material, and so bringing that like freshness back to it.
I started recording because of that. It's like, or I'm like, oh, I gotta try this line out tonight.
Yeah.
And then it pops, and I didn't record it, and now I don't remember what I said.
Remember anything. You didn't write it down or anything.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Idiot. All right, that was on the questionnaire, by the way. Just so
That's
you know.
okay.
We
You're
are
a great
smart and pretty-
He's a
interviewer.
great
I
interviewer.
think
He's doing great.
You're
He's
gonna
doing
go
great right
places.
now. He's doing great.
I'm gonna be shitty at stand up, but I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
fine.
This is what it's gonna do. That.
Be comedy adjacent.
Thanks.
Comedy. Yeah, he's
Listen,
funny,
I can't
but
do what you guys do, so I just like let's hear you talk.
I'm sure you're a great host. You know, maybe you should get into hosting.
I like hosting.
Actually, podcasting could be where he's at. But anyway, though, what was your writing process like in the beginning, and how has it changed?
My writing process in the beginning, like the first time, it was a premise and just trying to build stuff out from that premise. Now I'll generally have a premise, or I'll have, and I would also journal. That was also part. So I would like journal. I would like manically journal in the middle of the night, and then go back and look over the journals and like extract the funny stuff and write in the margins and stuff like that. I'll still do some of that, but generally stuff just comes to me throughout my day, and just repeating it in my head and figuring out how to write it down, and then also just getting on stage and fleshing shit out and kind of like seeing how stuff comes together. So like most of the time I'll have a setup, or not a setup, but I'll have a punchline, and I'll have like a premise, and I don't know how I'm going to get to it. So I like kind of work out the setup live on stage. Just figuring out how do I get to those points.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the fun part of that's being on stage writing that way also helps a lot, because it's like Lucas said it once. He's like, just know where you're going to start, know where you're going to end, and if you can find room to fuck around in the middle, that's when you can like create something on stage.
But that's why recording is crucial, because you'll do magic sometimes and lose it. But that's also like sometimes you get off stage and you discover something, or you figured out how to connect something. And so like I find a lot of times writing immediately after doing a mic can be really helpful for me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree with all those things as tools. I know for me right now, it's like listening is a big part of it. Like if I'm doing something with like going for a walk with like no headphones or anything like that, like and then you just hear it. Like I hear it, then I'm like, great, that's probably my ending. And I know, my beginning's probably going to be an easier jumping point than finally getting that ending point. And then I will have just a few bullets on my, I use Gmail drafts. So I have all these drafts labeled from like years where it's like spring 2019. And sometimes I go into that and I'm like, oh fuck, there's actually some stuff I can add to this now.
Damn, you're paying for storage on Gmail if you're doing that.
I am.
It feels like you're
$2 a month. $2 a month for the 100 gig. I'm taking a bath. And if I can hear it and I know where to go, then I can talk it out. But that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean it's that easy. I'll get these blocks all the time where I'm like, fuck, I can't get through this chunk. This isn't as cohesive as it should be, and stuff like that. But those are
what's the answer to that? Is it just like divine intervention? Because it seems like I have no control over that whatsoever. It seems like it just happens during a set sometimes.
No, I like I heard one tool, and it was an Alex Falcone thing, is that like it's like you're always finding keys to different locks, but you don't really get to pick or force which key you find. Like it happens, and then it's like, oh, that's connected to that thing.
Exactly.
I never thought I'd finish that, but now I have a chance to do that.
Yeah,
like,
it's an epiphany.
Yeah,
you have an epiphany.
Fun puzzle. It turns into
divinity.
Exactly.
Reminding yourself it's fun, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a good way to put it.
Did you guys receive any like great advice your first year? Or like not even advice. What was the word you want to use
feedback.
for it?
Like
feedback.
For example,
what was your first year feedback that you may have hated, but you were like, that's pretty good actually.
From and you'll never forget. Can I tell you mine real quick?
This is a great question.
I bombed hard. I was like 1 month in at Kelly's, and I forgot all my material, but I still filled the time on stage of like 5 minutes. I got off, and Jarrell was hosting, and he's like, "You're a confident bomber, man." And I was like, "I'll remember that forever."
A confident
that's
bomber.
good.
Confident bomber.
That's a good.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
I was just up there not sweating, but I was definitely not entertaining anyone.
I think some of the first really good feedback I got was from DNA, and he booked me for like my first festival ever, my first big gig. It was in front of 300 people, sold out show. And I got off stage and he was like, your energy was amazing. Like, yeah. And so like, and for me, it was like an underhanded, because it's like your not your material, not your set, but it was like, he was like, that was powerful and impressive. And so for me, I was like, if I can learn how to get the other stuff in line and harness this energy, I'm going to be really powerful comedian.
See, mine, I'm going to name drop here. It was Debbie Wooten. And it wasn't like the second time she said something. It was the first time.
Hey, you got to include the second time.
I don't want to because it's still hurtful.
I can only imagine.
It was harsh. Boy, you better learn how to write.
That's
But the bitch can't walk.
First
So
time,
what do you
tell them about the first time she talked to you, though. She was nice.
First time, yeah, she was nice. She loved me so much. She wanted to like. She said, "You have something, but if you want to learn to write jokes, you should come to my house." And like, I didn't know how to take that.
I didn't know she said that.
Yeah, she said that.
She's not trying to
Well, I don't know.
No, she was inviting you
She
first.
was,
She's trying to put you on, young
She's just trying to put me on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she was trying to put me
Trying
on.
to help you be better.
Listen here, cocksucker.
That's a tremendous fart.
I'm not trying to say she was, but.
Oh my god.
What was James? Did you have one?
James, what was yours?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about one that it was like the first year there was a lot of like really supportive good things, warm things, and stuff like that. I think a lot of those, I was so self-conscious about my path for so long because it felt like it was taking me so long. Like it felt like I showed people some good things early on, and then it felt like I had it just took me so long to figure myself out. And then Stephen Wilbur came up to me and he said, like, we all knew you could do it. It was just you never know when a flower is gonna bloom, or something like that. And
did he disappear in a ball of smoke?
Yeah, he just he undid his umbrella and just flew off.
It was like, was he a Batman villain?
And that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, that's a beautiful tale.
Yeah. Because my first year in PFP, I was in the semis with Steven and Curtis, and we're in the same round. Steven goes on to win that year. It blows everyone out of the water because he's rapping the presidents this year. And I was sitting there, and I was like hiding behind my typed scripts, and I was like, "How do you even like start to have the self-confidence to do that, something like that. And Steven was like, he went to LA for a little while, but I was so glad that like he got to like, he's watched me grow a lot, and that like felt good to kind of get that 10 years later, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Called it cute, but that is very cool and deep. That's awesome, man. Should we
Ronnie,
do another question?
did you have any like beautiful feedback? Well, like we feel like you had some negative feedback now.
Well, I
So
don't
like,
think it
what's
was.
your
I mean,
beautiful feedback?
I've had a lot of people, say, I mean, I'm beautiful, so people are gonna say nice things to me. I don't know what.
Just off the bat.
First of all, not funny, but that ass.
But yeah, but I mean,
The
like
way you cried on stage.
like James, like I also one of the things that I struggle with is anxiety. I have like agoraphobic anxiety. And getting on stage has really been kind of like exposure therapy for me. But I had my mentor, I also get attached to the script and just like taking that mask off, like being yourself. And so just getting the feedback of your power is in being in your unhinged rage. Like just
That's where you go off script.
yeah, that's when I go.
go,
Yeah,
"I'm Ronnie,
exactly.
motherfucker."
And it took me a long time to gain the confidence to be able to go off script.
And just
Hell yeah.
cook.
Yeah,
Just
and just
cook.
cook and just trust that you know that what to do, and if you don't, you have a tool chest to rely on.
Do you find yourself going back to old jokes when like you're like out of cooking sometimes, when you're like, oh, what am I gonna do? And then you just
Absolutely. Yeah. When I'm done cooking, like if I get nervous, so it's kind of like the safety, it's like pulling the parachute
it's a safety net.
cord. It's a safety
Mhm.
net.
Back
of,
pocket.
Yeah.
Yep. I have like 3 dick jokes just like that.
Yeah.
Wherever I go in life, like on the stage, I can always
and
go
one
back
of
to
them
the
is
dick
just
joke.
whipping it out.
Yeah, that's
But part of that is
It was
also sometimes you find a new avenue into different material, or
For
you
sure, I
find
love
the
that.
way you went off book and you find how it connects, or
Or, like, something
material
you
that
wrote,
you've
like,
already
years
had.
ago finally connects, and you get so excited because
Yeah.
like you loved the joke so much, but like you can never find the ending to it.
Exactly.
And
Mhm. 3 years later,
connects.
you find it.
yeah,
Yeah.
love
What was your guys' family's reaction to you starting stand up, or friends? Did you tell them, and then what happened? What was going on there?
I didn't tell anybody I was doing stand-up comedy when I
Whoa.
started doing
Okay.
stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't tell
Yeah.
anybody. I think I was like 3 months in before somebody accidentally like stumbled into the down low where and saw me do it, and they were like, "I had no idea you did this," and I was like, So I didn't.
That's actually not me.
Yeah.
No, I'm Ronald's Pizza Pie.
I really like I wasn't I wasn't telling anybody. I didn't invite anybody to shows and my family's dead, so I which also gives you freedom.
Helps with
You
comedy.
know, yeah. It's like I don't have anybody. It's like I can say whatever I want because nobody's gonna give me grief about it. I can,
You have no guilt.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Believe me,
listen, I'm half Jewish and half Catholic.
I
I
did-
have plenty of guilt.
yeah,
A dead,
it's still there.
Ronnie, a dead family might be better because my dad gives me notes up the ass.
Oh, dad
Listen,
notes.
you need to bring an iPad on stage with you
Yeah.
for your notes.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
dad's
it's so bad.
my dad's like, so
bad.
you know that if you want to take a career, if you want to take it as a career, you should start videotaping yourself and just post everything you do online because that's what everyone's doing. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, you're right. I know. Thank you.
You want me to
Dad's
post
got
me
good
bombing?
advice.
He has
You
good,
wanna post me
but then
bombing for 2 years until
I
get good?
bomb so much. I don't think he wants to see those videos.
No.
Also, I'm talking so much shit about them. Yeah.
You would be surprised. Listen, my uncle, my uncle Sonny, he's seen my clips and he's like, I love the way you talk about
Mhm.
stuff. So that's like one of I'm like, I don't want the people like my uncle, the people who are still alive. I don't give a fuck about my Titi Edie. But I don't want them to think that I'm disrespecting my parents.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
Yeah. And that I'm and that I can speak my truth and that I'm
Mhm.
not. Yeah. It's
That's
just-
why I always like try to be like vague about jokes. I feel like My mom jokes aren't really vague. That's pretty to the point.
Yeah.
But like, I try to be vague about family and all that, just because I don't want, I don't want all the Thanksgivings to be awkward.
James, you're a sweet little boy.
Yeah, and my mom and my sister were like so happy when I finally started,
Nice.
because it felt like a good something I'd wanted to do for so long, and they were like, now you're doing that, and that's pretty cool. And they still go to like a couple shows a year, and they love it, and it feels crazy to be able to say that. So yeah, it's been a really positive thing.
Oh, that's
Right
beautiful.
On,
Yeah.
right on.
For
No
sure.
notes though from them at all. They
Notes
never
from
like
them?
pestered you.
Yeah,
with
they never
anything?
pestered you.
I
It
get
seems
notes
like
all the time.
we all had some like negative things to say, and you were
Yeah,
like,
talk shit,
"Oh,
man."
my family's great."
There was
That's
a-
beautiful. That's a good thing.
Everybody
Yeah.
loves me.
Yeah, everybody loved me. Yeah.
No,
We get
Then
it.
why
Full
is your
support.
life so
This is a
fucked
hit.
up,
Full
James?
support.
If everybody loves you.
that's mostly the fact that my dad was murdered.
That's what you're on the show for. More of that.
Hard plug to My Little Cold Case, which is in production. And the thing about negative feedback is you never forget the scowling faces. That's. I got way more. I think, fortunately, like my first year, I got more kind words than scowling faces because I didn't do that many shows. But I remember listening to like fucking like Lose Yourself in my car on the way to like a show, and I was like, they are gonna get it tonight, baby.
Shut the fuck
And
up.
then it's just one old lady like scowling at me the whole time. I was like, what is this? What is this thing I've decided to do?
Oh, that's great.
But
I feel like all the old scowling women are my parents. Like,
Yeah.
like they like, yeah. Like
Shit,
anytime
yeah.
there's somebody, and it's like an older one, I'm like, oh my, it's my disapproving mother. Like this in
Yeah.
reincarnated.
But how good does it feel when the old ladies are?
Oh, they
Yeah.
love
They
it.
love
Yeah.
it.
When you
The
get the old
best.
ladies to laugh, you're like,
Yeah.
But
gonna
when
get
you
some
don't,
pussy.
though, it just sucks. I
You
could
gotta
get like
say
a whole
fuck
crowd
it.
to laugh, but when an old lady doesn't laugh at me, I feel like I'm being judged, and I feel like I have to say sorry, man.
Well, she's probably
Like-
racist.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I get some notes from my mom. I did like crowd work with her at one show, and it
Ooh.
was fun to do that with her. And after the show, she was like, "Did you have to talk about Dave like that? Who was an ex-boyfriend?" And Dave rips. Like Dave doesn't give a fuck. But
we
little
did
notes like that.
we did a show with.
Oh, anyway,
Back
what-
to you guys. Back to the stars of the show.
So, what advice would you give a starting comedian?
Don't no, I'm kidding. I mean, it's all about repetition and get those reps in and find your voice. Like there's certain stuff. I mean, if you're just starting out, I don't have any advice for you, but just get on stage. There's a lot of advice I could give to you at certain points, but it doesn't mean anything if you haven't gotten on stage yet. There's certain things that you won't understand. Like it's like, when people ask for answers and it's like you're skipping ahead of, just get on stage and get those reps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, James? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say take care of yourself. Like
So wholesome.
take care of yourself, and but as far as like getting on stage and off the stage, like nothing is precious. Just keep getting on and keep getting off, keep getting on, keep getting off, and nothing is precious. Just keep going
It's
yeah.
it's like
and
sparring.
take care of yourself. And
What
if you
was
do
the
all,
last thing you said?
and take care of yourself.
Are you referring to like and all that jazz?
Yeah, I mean it's so easy to do a lot of like, especially when you are hitting a lot of mics. It's easy to stop. It's easy to neglect yourself. It's easy to say like, oh, well, I don't need to take a break from comedy today. Even it's like,
Yeah.
no, you like really focus. Like the creating and being creative, I think, is like so much of it is self care, and I've always done any amount of my best work when that's a priority.
Very true.
Well, the first
so-
set back after like 3 days off is pretty fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that too. Yeah, it keeps things fun. But yeah, I think those components. I think are
I've had
are
some
the
pretty-
biggest.
Had some pretty great sets when I wasn't taking care of
And
myself.
then, yeah,
Yeah, but if you
it's
watch
not
the-
like they don't happen.
Ronnie,
It's
you
not
watch
like
the
they
video,
don't
you're like
happen.
sweating balls.
Shake a little bit.
Why she grind her teeth so much?
One time I was on sleeping pills, but they weren't working. So it was like manic and like I had a great set.
Yeah. How do you guys treat your? Because the open mics, it's like no pressure anymore. And maybe when you first start, open mics are a lot of pressure. But like James, I've seen you go up at like Haymaker, and it seems like I've seen you go up at certain venues, and you just take such a different angle with things sometimes. Like you went up at Haymaker, and all you did was like, oh man, I had this I can't even do it. You just started with this character who was like in a feeling and a vibe, and you kept mumbling through it for the full 3 minutes, and it was a riot. I laughed because it just built and built and built.
Sure.
Is that prep work? Is that just an idea you go up with to do absurd stuff like that?
I think sometimes that energy just might help a certain bit I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
Where like for this bit, I should be in more despair, and then for this bit, it's like I'm doing all right. And I think that energy kind of helps me get into the bit a little bit, like a lot.
Gotcha. So that one set I saw, I was very much like, my bit is I'm going to be this energy guy and go into it with all of this.
I might have actually not felt great also.
Could have been an unprepared set.
If I don't feel great.
To me, it was comedy gold. To everyone else in the bar, he's like, what the fuck's he doing?
But if I don't feel great, then I'd like to use the way I honestly feel to energize that material.
Nice.
Or whatever I'm gonna do.
All right.
So it can be one or the other. So
how this isn't even in the questions, but like, how do you guys recover from a bad set? Like, do you guys blast music in the car?
Get back on stage
You just get
immediately.
back on stage.
Yeah. Get that bad taste out your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suck another dick.
Maybe the next one will be better. Maybe
this
he
one
won't have
showered.
his foreskin.
yeah.
All right. Maybe we should go back to the papers.
I think that's a good
I
question.
want to know, James. James, what do you do?
Yeah, I think you're gonna go up again eventually, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you have it in you, like, and you think that there's something to be said about the next thing you're gonna do, or the next place you're gonna do it, then you should. I also sometimes it's like it's 9:30. That didn't go great. That didn't feel great. I can go to bed. Like and like that's okay too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
God.
And leaning into like what you learned from the bad set, I think is also, because you learn way more from a bad set than you do from a great set.
Shoot, I might chime in with that.
Yeah.
Give a young comic advice. Have a good comedy buddy you trust.
Absolutely.
Because after sets with this guy or whatever, I go up. I'll whatever feedback he has for me, I'll take it for real.
Yeah.
And then same for him.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not that it's unwarranted. It's we both think pretty much the same thing.
Like,
Yeah.
If he's
work
giving me
off each
feedback,
other.
I'm pretty much already right there with him. And so
Yeah.
have a
Or-
good comedy buddy too.
Or go talk, go talk shit with your friends. Like remind yourself that you can still like make people laugh and be funny. Maybe just not on stage at that
That's a good
particular
point.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've definitely left the mic not talking to anyone after not doing it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking the
Listen,
head
I've had
down
my-
just to walk out, and like everyone's like, wasn't he just here? yeah, I've done that so many times.
Yeah. How about do you guys call yourself comics? And then when did you start actually calling yourself a comedian?
I'm a comedian, and I don't call myself a comic because that's for the Sunday papers.
Okay.
Like,
All right.
fuck the question.
Yeah,
Cool.
Like,
people
read those anymore.
You know, like the Far Side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, can we get a different guest that wants to play along? Rude.
I started calling myself. I felt like I remember the first time I got paid for a show, and I was like, oh wow, this doesn't even feel like I should be like, that was amazing. But I remember the first, like, I was probably like a year in when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a kind of a comedian. But still, like, I would still have imposter syndrome years in. And like, if I wasn't hitting it hella hard, like when I first came to Portland, I wasn't hitting it hard, and I felt weird about calling myself a comedian.
Did you ever lose imposter syndrome?
Well, if you do a thing enough, you can combat those voices in your head. So the voices will always be there, but if you're doing the work, then you can tell those voices like, shut the fuck up, you don't know what you're talking about. This is what I do. And you can have confidence in that.
Good self-talk, which
Yeah.
also applies to life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What about you, James? When did you start seeing yourself as a comedian?
I remember like at one of the first day jobs I had in Portland, people would come in and be like, "Oh yeah, you're a comedian," and it was like, I was like, "Oh, I like doing comedy. Like I like doing comedy,"
Hell
and I
yeah.
think it's still a hard label and as a pill almost to swallow that, because I love doing comedy. If you do stand up, you can do it every day for the rest of your life. Like there's so few things like that you can just, no one else, you can go do that any day, all the time. And so there's millions of those people all over the world that
I'm
do
a comedian.
that. It's like, yeah, like
I go up once every 3 months at Shanahan's.
Yeah.
So in my first year, there were shows where people paid me way too much to do a show. Where it's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, I have 7 minutes. Like, and I think like now when I go to other cities, like people in Denver, they like had heard about me and stuff. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, like what I do, you guys know what I do? And they're like, yeah. And we really like it. And I was like, that's, I have 1,600 followers on Instagram. Like, how are you one of those?
Yeah, we know what you do. It
So-
stinks.
Yeah. And we go back. So I think now, like, I feel more comfortable, like, saying, like, and I like saying comic, but still, like, it's like, I think I'm more comfortable saying, like, yeah, I do comedy and, like, different things.
Yeah.
Like, because that's kind of how I spend my time.
I always referred to myself as an open micer for a long time. I still call myself just.
You are an open
yeah, I'm
micer.
just an open micer.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Ronnie.
But there's
you're a comic.
Yeah.
Wonka wonka.
It's a weird, it's a hell of a label.
Yeah, it is.
It's a
It
fucking-
means nothing and everything all at once.
Nothing means anything.
Yeah.
So,
For
here we
sure.
are.
You call yourself a comic, buddy? Comedian? Yeah.
No.
It's all you do. You ain't got no girl. You ain't got no job. You're a comedian.
Gotta
man.
be something. I gotta be something.
Yeah, you got a dog. That's cool. You're a
Yeah,
dog
that's
owner,
cool.
right?
I'm a dog owner.
I don't know.
I actually, no.
You're a comedian, bro. You're a comedian.
I do consider myself like a comedian because I can't really consider myself anything else, like you said.
Yeah.
Like
It's a small resume.
It's a small resume. I
respect
when people
that answer.
when people ask me what I do, I'm like I tell jokes.
Yeah.
Breathe air.
I be there.
Yeah.
I apply for applications, get denied, and then I tell more jokes.
Yeah.
You know, what would be the first? That's not the question.
Hit me.
What would be the 3 words you would use to describe your first year in comedy?
God. What a fucking horrible question.
Okay.
There's the 3 words. Fucking horrible question. Ronnie?
It's a hard question. Yeah. It's a good one. It's hard. 3 words.
Mm-hmm. We'll be right back.
Failing
And we're back.
failing forward fabulously.
Wow.
Hey.
Damn. Confucius say.
Yes, thank you. I love a good alliteration.
That was good.
Yeah.
Very confusing times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Fast times
Hell
at
yeah.
James Hartenfeld High.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. Well
Jesus.
done, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Well, we only have one more question on the paper.
Do 2.
Do you, what? Do too.
Dude, too.
I don't know. Is there any, is there
Quite
any,
right. Quite right.
Are there any cool snippets or any kind of things from your first year in comedy that really stood out to you
Yeah,
that you
any
want to share with
stories?
people? I know it's a very broad question. Like, does anything pop out? You guys had a week in advance before this came up. You could have thought of something, you bitches.
Send us the question.
Yeah.
No,
Are you
no
gonna
questions.
attack us?
You didn't think about your first year in comedy at all?
I thought about it a little bit, and then I tried not to think about
Yeah,
it.
it's like,
It's very.
Oh, we're just
so
that good
sad.
at interviewing? Our questions were that good, they have nothing left.
Our show literally gives any comic PTSD, and I'm not liking
What?
it.
Remember when you sucked and hated yourself? How was that?
that still happens, Vaughn. I couldn't sleep last night for that exact reason.
All right, thanks for answering that question, guys. Oh, fuck it.
At the first comedy festival I went to, I was less than a year in, and I peed in a comedian, Butch Escobar. I peed in a comedian's sink at a hotel, and he will
Talk
never
better.
let go of it, and he fucking hates me for it.
Wait,
He
well,
was
why'd
like,
you do it?
Cause I could.
No, no, I don't think it was drunk. I just think it was Ronnie. I think it was drunk. Because I could.
He was like, I'm gonna brush my teeth there later. Like, what's the matter with you? You're a fucking animal.
You don't like ammonia?
Yeah.
You should have been like, what's the matter
And
with
I
you?
was like,
You
I
brush
was
your
like,
teeth
I was
there.
like, it's sterile. It's sterile.
Her pee is like mostly alcohol anyway.
It's all sterile. Jays, what
Did
about
you want something from like a show or like?
No, honestly, it was just, yeah.
Fuck it, man. We're almost
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you want to say to
What do
people?
I-
Talk
about
to the
that
folks at
first
home.
year?
Yeah. I'm doing good at this, all right?
Oh man. Oh my god. This is what I'll say about my first year and how naive I was. I thought that I was going to make so much money starting comedy that I thought I would be able to buy a new pair of shoes for every show I did.
What?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You're so sweet and naive, James Hartenfeld.
What shoes were you looking at? Like, what?
I would just buy like,
Yeah, some like Payless, BOGO, Payless. Like,
You went to the Goodwill and you're like, I could buy these. I could buy these.
I would buy like Roshi runs. And like I was just like, man, like
What's it called when you do a show and they want have a list for what you want in the green room? What's it called again? A fucking itinerary or some shit?
Yeah, like whatever.
Oh,
like, when you
You
yeah.
should ask for a new pair of shoes every time you do a venue.
your
Doesn't someone do that?
What is
Doesn't
that called?
Chappelle?
God, what's a rider? Yeah, on your rider, just
Rider,
put on some
yeah,
new shoes. But
yeah.
they're all Toms.
Who does that though?
yeah,
Somebody fucking did that.
because the
Tommy
kid with
does
no
that.
shoes gets a pair.
Can we have like someone pull up what comedian does that?
I know,
Because there's a
yeah,
comedian.
It's
who
a
has
lot
that
of
asks for new
comedians.
shoes. Yeah, is it a
Yeah,
lot? 'Cause I know Chappelle.
I think it's Dave Chappelle.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my good friend Schultz? My good friend Andrew Schultz?
Chappelle.
I'll call him up and ask him.
But that's how fucking naive I was.
Is it
That's
Louis
what people
C.K.?
understand.
Is it?
Oh.
Really sweet.
So fucking clueless.
Well, now you're making money. So
Well, you were
that's good.
23.
I was
Yeah,
23 from a small town.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm looking at his shoes, and I don't think it's working out still. So
these are my dog walking shoes.
What,
Oh, we
did
can
you
tell.
walk
Did
Ronnie
the dog
here?
shit on them?
All right, I'm done. If we don't have any more questions,
We have one actual question.
If we are
One more
done with
question. Go ahead. Go ahead. We have one more question. That's it.
what would you guys name your comedy memoir?
The boy who thought he could buy shoes.
it's not
That's
bad.
for Ronnie.
It's not
That's
bad.
for Ronnie.
Filthy sober.
Filthy sober.
adorable.
Yeah.
That's nice. Do you want to explain on that?
Well,
Just-
I intend to get sober again at some point, and then
Alright.
yeah, but I
Actually,
was
we actually have some
sober
people
for
back
4
here.
years. I was sober for 4 years, and I came up with that when I was sober, and I was like, it's gonna be filthy and
Filthy
sober,
sober. I
filthy
like
and
it.
sober.
Filthy
Nice.
and sober.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. That's nice.
Alright.
What would your pose be?
Oh, that's
What
good.
would my pose be?
Yeah,
the
like
front of
on
the
the
book.
front of the book.
Oh, so what I want to do is like this Photoshop series of me on a bed doing a spread eagle, and then but then I'm
Yeah.
giving birth to myself.
Okay.
And all of my, I've got like tassels, but it's me as a baby, and then my grandparents and like family is all like looking over me, giving birth to myself. Yeah.
This.
Seems like you've put very little thought into this. Seems very unspecific, very vague, very vague.
And then filthy, and then the title. Where do you want that title? Like, Filthy and sober.
Tattoos on the thighs. Yeah.
Filthy and sober. That's great. That is
All right.
great.
Close it out, James. What's your book?
Mine would be called "Can I Float?"
Oh.
Yeah, and because that's all. Like, I always loved floating anywhere on a list, and it always made me feel like I had the most freedom. And I think that's like stand up gave me like stand up just myself, because we talked about this at the beginning too. Like what it did for myself is it made me feel free and confident as an individual. And it helped me work with groups later on and stuff. But yeah, I think I'd call it "Can I Float?"
Can I float?
And then
Yeah.
what would be your weird cover? It doesn't have to be weird. Sorry, my bad. Yours wasn't weird.
Take your time. Take your time.
It's art. Thank you.
It was very like narcissist. It was like it was beautiful.
First of all, it's me. Give
me,
birth
me,
to me.
And then I had my
Hey, listen,
family
my
watching
family,
me.
my-
Yeah,
All right, hold
from the
on.
skies.
James, can I float? Pose,
Yeah.
what you got?
I was always in the bathtub all the time as a kid because I was so scared, and I needed the sound of the running water. So I'd probably just be like floating in a bathtub.
As like a baby, like would you wear a diaper?
Yeah, but still my man head.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man head.
That's solid.
Man head.
That's
Oh, we're all very
beautiful.
familiar with man head.
I don't think you would float with that. I think you're gonna like sink head
it's head to
first.
Yeah, but
I think you'd
it's-
float even harder.
it's-
This guy's an airhead.
Yeah.
Oh.
Something like that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Do you guys before we go, do you guys want to plug anything? You guys got any shows coming up?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Chapters.
Chapters.
What you-
I guess chapters coming
Yeah.
up, isn't
you've
it?
got the dates
February
locked in better than I do.
16th.
You tell the date.
Is-
Always my Instagram, always my OnlyFans, because I'm tired of masturbating and squalor.
Well, you didn't say your Instagram. Say your Instagram handle.
Instagram, Ronnie Macaroni, LaRon, OnlyFans, Lillian James.
The widest name.
It's actually my mother's name. My mother's
Oh,
name was
shit.
Lillian, and my
Never mind,
grandfather on my dad's side was named Jack.
Wait, why?
So
why
Lillian
would you name
James
your-
is
okay.
because
She-
it's
wait,
what I
she's
was.
only-
I was gonna
Keep it
name
in
my
the family.
daughter that, but I'm not having kids,
Wait,
obviously.
She's
so
only posted 2
I
videos
just
on
saved my
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.
Wait, Isaiah, she's only posted 2 videos on her OnlyFans. It's Lillian James breaking out and Lillian James how she got her groove back. All right, that wasn't worth the interrupting.
James, would you got any plugs?
I got tickets on sale right now I'm headlining Infinity Room on the 21st of this month in Salem. That's a great club. You check it out. And also trying to sell out my first theater show at Clinton Street Theater on the 28th for Ricky Winters. So
Winners, baby.
those 2 tickets are on sale right now.
Great
Right on.
show.
Yeah, if you just Google James Hartenfeld, you'll find him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Don't forget to check out Chapters. Chapters the show on Instagram. Chapters the show on Facebook. Don't forget to come out to the show at Al's Den February 16th at 7 o'clock. We're going to have these fine comedians here. And we're also going to have a couple other ones.
Plug
2
your
more.
Instagram, your own Instagram.
Oh, my own Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about me. It's still Laughing99. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram's at PB_and_V.
Why is it that?
I was eating a lot of peanut butter and jelly at the time.
That's Chapters, ladies and gentlemen. Chapters.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.